Okay, step 2. If you are seriously considering transitioning from a heel strike to a midfoot strike, and you are going to transition using zero drop shoes with less of a heel on them than your traditional running type shoes, one of the things you're going to have to do is you're going to take some time before you even start your transition stretching out your Achilles tendon. The reason being is your Achilles tendon is not going to be used to having that much stretching going on. And I'm going to try to switch the camera here to pan down to my shoes so I can kind of give you an example of why. Okay, hopefully you can see the difference here in the different types of shoes, the heeled shoes and the zero drop shoes. Now, as you can notice, the heeled shoe here elevates your Achilles tendon and it kind of lifts it up, kind of like this. So your Achilles tendon is always up. When you transition to a heeled shoe or a zero drop shoe, as you can notice, the Achilles tendon is going to be much closer to the ground when it comes back down. So you're going to stretch that Achilles tendon. And a lot of people who transition from a midfoot or heeled strike to more of a midfoot strike, the most common complaint they have, or even barefoot running, is their Achilles tendon. They have a lot of Achilles tendonitis. So this is just kind of a demonstration as to why. Your Achilles tendon is going to be stretched much closer to the ground when you run, so that you're going to have to do some exercises prior to transitioning to stretch out that Achilles tendon. And your Achilles tendon will elongate if you stretch it enough, because mine has, and I will show you the stretch that I did to elongate that. So hopefully that was a good demonstration there. You can kind of see the difference in why a heeled shoe elevates your Achilles and a zero drop shoe is going to stretch that Achilles out, which I think is a good thing once you get it stretched out. Okay, so the best stretch that I have found for stretching out your Achilles tendon will require a step stool if possible, or at least an elevated surface. The reason I like to use the step stool is because it kind of gives me something to hold on to as I'm doing this stretch. And I've demonstrated this stretch in other videos of mine, but I wanted to include it here in the process of transitioning. So what you're going to need is a step stool if possible. And what I would recommend doing is I usually do this before and after I run every time, just to keep my Achilles tendon stretched and ready to go. But I would recommend doing this at least 2 weeks before you even start to make the transition, so that your Achilles can get used to being stretched out longer. But this is a nice, good, easy stretch to do, and the step stool gives you a little bit of something to grab onto if you do lose your balance. But basically what you're going to want to do is just kind of stand up on it. And the first thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to go up. I usually hold it for 20 seconds to 30 seconds. The nice thing about the step stool is it kind of lets you grab yourself here if you lose your balance. And then you're going to want to go down. As you can see, it's really stretching out your Achilles tendon here. Socks down there, so you can kind of see it. Especially when you go down. I try not to hold on to the step stool as much as possible. That way it makes my muscles kind of work for themselves rather than me holding on to it. It's not as easy, or it's easier when you hold on to it. So I kind of try to use the step stool just for balance. And then you're going to want to go back up to kind of give it an eccentric stretch as well, going up and down. This will also strengthen your calf muscles, which I'll talk about in a minute here. So this is just a really good stretch to do. I won't hold it for the entire time, but just up and down to stretch that Achilles out. A lot of people have told me this is pretty good for plantar fasciitis too, if you've ever had that problem. So that might help for that as well. Sometimes I'll try to alternate too, just to get a deeper stretch in each foot. I usually have to hold on a little bit more when I do that though. But that's just a really good way to stretch out your Achilles tendon. That's one of the few actual stretches that I do before I run, just to keep that Achilles tendon stretched out. So I would highly recommend this. This is absolutely necessary to do before, during, and as you're transitioning, and even after you transition, just to keep that Achilles tendon stretched out. That's step 2. Okay. Step 3 is, I just want to talk real briefly about calf pain, because as you make this transition, you are going to experience a lot of calf pain in your calf muscles. Just because your calves are not used to absorbing all of that shock when you run. Your heels are used to absorbing it. But when you land on a midfoot, as you can see, your calf muscles are going to absorb the shock. If you look at it when you land on your knee, the calf muscles aren't working that much. When you land right here, you can see my calf muscle fire right there. That's primarily when where you're going to be landing. And that's a good thing and a bad thing at the beginning. The bad thing at the beginning is they're not used to that, and they're going to be very, very sore. The good thing is, once they do get used to it after a while, they're going to absorb the shock, not your knee joints. So what I wanted to stress on step 3 is you're going to have to accept the fact that you're going to have calf pain for actually quite a while as you transition, and that's why I recommend transitioning slowly, which I'll talk about later. But so I wanted to give you some simple things you can do to just kind of keep your calves loose and massaged as you make the transition. So step 3 is make sure you're aware that you're going to have a lot of calf pain, but it will be well worth it, because I no longer have any calf pain when I run, and my calf muscles are used to absorbing that shock when I run now, and the pain is completely gone, and they're much stronger for it. So one of the first things I want to do is show you a quick, easy way to loosen your calf muscles up and keep them loose. Is just to take a rolling pin, a standard rolling pin, elevate your foot. Don't keep it flat. You want to elevate it just a little bit, and then just kind of roll your calf muscles. This is your soleus muscle right down here. This is your calf muscle. Just kind of keep those loose. It's just a nice, easy way to keep them loose. I would recommend doing this before and after you run as you transition. Once again, make sure you try to elevate your foot a little bit. If you keep it flat on the ground, it kind of tightens up your muscles just a little bit. If you elevate your foot a little bit, it really loosens up the soleus and the calf muscles, and you can get a good deep massage. So just roll your legs. Kind of feels good rolling all over your legs, actually, just to kind of keep them loose. But focusing right now on the calf muscle. But you can roll all parts of your legs if you want, just to kind of keep them loose and increase the blood flow before you run and after. Kind of gives you a good way to warm up your legs before running without stretching, which I recommend. So just roll your legs, especially your calf muscles. So step 3 is accept calf pain and the fact that you are going to have it. I'm going to step back here, the camera back, and show you another quick way to loosen up your calf muscles and get a really deep massage in them. Here. One thing you can do with the rolling pin also is, if you have put the rolling pin on a flat surface and then just put it on your calf muscle and kind of lift your butt up. That'll give you a deep massage. And you can put your leg on top of the other to give it an even deeper massage. This might hurt a lot if you're not used to doing this, as it did me when I first started, especially if your calf muscles are sore. You won't want to do that. You'll probably just want to put as much pressure on it as you can, and then just kind of switch. Just a good way to roll them. That'll give you a deeper massage than actually rolling it yourself. So that is step 3. Accept your calf pain, and it will be worth it in the end.